Good evening, my acrimonious Acrocanthosaurus. 2.2 has been one of my favorite updates in all of Zenless Zone Zero, and we got the juiciest, jiggliest lore drops. The first thing I have to talk about and get off my mind is the physical manifestations of the Mindscapes. We knew they were like special dimensions before, but now that Isolda made one appear in the Hollow, we have to analyze it. So please beware, this whole video is spoilers, and please, please, please play the update before watching. Thank you. The final domain is the final Mindscape. Let me show you how I came to that conclusion. Now, Isolda has great character design, and we can get a lot of information on her and how storytelling works in Zenless Zone Zero. She has gray-purple pupils in the flashbacks, and this could be an artistic choice, or it could be shadows, anything like that. But we do know that this purple matches the exaltist symbol that appears on the back of her left hand and on Sarah. We also know that she has white pupils in the current story. She has the simplified version of the exaltist symbol on her belt, and the motif on her shoes matches the decorations on the overseer that we see in earlier chapters. Her sword has the word mourn written on it, and it has the white flower printed on it. The other character we see with this type of flower symbolism is the leader of the Falconane mercenary troop, but her roses are red. This is a similar symbolism to the Divine Comedy, which is divine love. That's also why we see it on the Alicia XP during this arc in particular. Isolda's transformation comes after she sacrifices herself with the sword holding the Overseer hive mind, similar to the Qingming sword and Talus. We also see the creator gaze at the others when they ascend to this higher dimension version of themselves. In the final domain, Isolde uses the Miasma Zombie Defense Force to get the creator's attention. We only see it for a frame, but is present for the boss fight. This is remarkably similar to Honkai Star Rail when the Aeons gaze at a character. So we have established these hive minds work different, but there is a sense of these characters walking a path that leads to the creator, but inheriting a different side of it. Like a prism being held to a white light, the creator's ether is being split into different elements. We don't see water as an element for the agents because it is so connected to the ether in lore. We see the water is a manifestation of ether and a respite from it. We see it in the Mindscapes, but here Isolde creates a special anomaly that engulfs the entire area out of bounds. The wave glows magenta to match how the hollows are breaking down every physical thing within the special hollow dimension into simpler states. Magenta, cyan, and yellow are the primary colors, and we see the ether crystals and godlike beings match this. As Isolde steps into the final domain, she engulfs the people around her in her Mindscape. We've never seen this before in the game. She is unable to do that, what she needs to do. We don't know what her fight that she has to do in her Mindscape is, but we know that she was not able to accomplish it. That is why she does not ascend further, but she does return to her human form without damage from the possessed blade. She failed to sacrifice herself to the creator. And you know we can't stop there. We have to put all of this into the context of the world-building lore we've gotten the entire time. In Port Elpis, we see the fish god statue shows that there is a water god, and we see the color cyan frequently there. Helios Academy shows us that there is a sun god, and the color yellow is used in the Helios Academy uniforms. The outer ring has Poto, which shows the magenta flowers on the cacti. Other gods exist in New Eridu, but the exaltists believe there's only one creator, mirroring the early Christianity being cult-like presence and the shift to monotheism. We also have to talk about how Isolde's Mindscape follows all of the rules for how Mindscapes work, but Isolde does not do the one crucial step to making it successful. We know that Miyabi, Yizhuan, Harumasa, and Kaleda have a Mindscape, and we've seen them go through it and get their upgrades. Every time, they turn inwards to face their turmoil and their flaws, and that is how they are able to achieve the next step in their growth. Isolde turns outward. She doesn't face her inner turmoil, instead she lashes out at Magus and Orphie. How could she possibly succeed in this final domain if she did not do the one crucial thing, which is face her own flaws? And you know we must talk about the real-world inspiration behind these themes and concepts. The most important one right now is Eridu being the first city and the real flood that happened there. We know the use of Assyrian and Akkadian mythology has the same amount of importance as Greek and Roman mythology in analyzing the Zenless Zone Zero's story. So I want to talk about the Great Flood and the Eridu creation myth. I believe this is why water and ether are so deeply connected in the story. I also think this is where the rewind reset theme really plays a role. We see Earth reverting, the dark wall and the hollow disaster are the flood. In chapter 3 of season 2, we have the most explicit version of this, with Isolda turning the water into that magenta wave. In Seed's agent story, we also see Hollow Zero isn't hollow like the smaller hollows. The top of the fog looks like water, and we see multiple elements manifest from those ether clouds. I'm also going to read you the Eridu creation myth called Eridu Genesis because I think it's very important to analyzing the entire story. Mankind's trails, when forgotten by the gods, were in the high desert. In those days, no canals were open, no dredging was done at levee, and ditches on bank tops. The cedar plow and plowing had not yet been instituted for the knocked under and downed people. No one of all the countries was planting in furrows. Mankind of those distant days, since Shakan, the god of flocks, had not yet come out on the dry lands, did not know arraying themselves in prime cloth. Mankind walked about naked. In those days, there being no snakes, being no scorpions, being no lions, being no hyenas, being no dogs, being no wolves. Mankind had no opponent. Fear and terror did not exist. The people had as yet no king. Nintur was paying attention. Let me bethink myself of my humankind, all forgotten as they are and mindful of mine. Nintur's creatures, let me bring them back. Let me lead the people back from their trails. May they come and build cities and cult places that I may cool myself in their shade. May they lay the bricks for the cult cities in pure spots, and they found places for divination in pure spots. Okay. It sounds like a lot, but I'm going to break it down a little bit more. We see the first line mirrored in the current feelings of the characters in New Eridu. The description for the Cretan Hollow says, "Long had the throne fallen, with beasts caged in eternal struggle. The gods, as ever, watch in silence." The next line is about the plowman, the everyman, and how the day's labor did not exist yet. I'm impressed by how consistent the connections in the research are. This is connected to the inspiration for Mockingbird, Pierre's plowman, a character that is the embodiment of this concept, but also a very physical tie connecting everything into this inspiration circle. So far, we have one for Faith and story and lore, and now we know that there is one for New Eridu's world-building lore. The next line shows up as people being unable to live in the hollows, but the creator literally creating the hollows. The rest is reminiscent of the creator deciding to become so invested in this version of Earth. It's important to note that while the characters of New Eridu are close to the thing that could prevent the creator from destroying it, there is still currently no hope for this version, and a reset is imminent. And while we're on the topic, the rewind, time loop, and infinity symbol is all connected to the Hoyoverse Finality, and I believe this is showing up as a sci-fi theory, like sci-fi inspired by the actual physics theory, the Janus point, which is by Julian Barbour. It was made more publicly available during ZZZ's early development. Okay, that's all I'm going to say on that. I think it showed up first because it was just released. Please check out my video on that if you haven't already. Like, I have a whole deep dive. The season 2 preview video opens with the rewind symbol, and I believe this means we're getting closer to that point in the story. Okay, now that I have all of this established as this, like, what we got, a huge lore dump from 2.2, I can finally re-record the video about the Dark Wall and the 3 OG Void Hunters that pushed it back, because now we just got so much more lore. I want to add all that in. Let me know what you would like to see. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.